This is your government. That means you own it. The owner's manual is the U.S. Constitution.
We're going to do Article 1, Section 7, which is talking about how a bill becomes law. In other words, this is, with all this other stuff, we had the House of Representatives, we had the Senate, we have rules about they have to keep a journal, we have rules about how they can expel their members, we have all these different things that they can do. But when it comes down to it, their business is to make laws, to legislate, to determine how the society is going to run. So, Article 1, Section 7 talks about how a bill becomes a law, how you make a law. All right, Mike?
Okay. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills.
Good. Any bill that raises revenue, any bill that's going to tax folks, has to come from the House of Representatives. What problem were they trying to solve with that one?
Oh, executive overreach spending.
Executive overreach and spending, exactly right. Now, and also remember that the Senate represented the states, represented the state governments.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when a tax is raised, when revenue is raised, who does it come from?
The people.
Exactly. It comes from the people. So the first thing that they do is they say, if you're going to have something that raises revenue, it has to come from the people. The people are the ones that have to originate it. Jim, let's start off with this clause 2 here, which is very long, so we will undoubtedly stop in the middle of it and see where we're at. It is procedural. It is now the procedure that you go through to make a law.
Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it becomes a law, be presented to the President of the United States.
Good. All right. So the first thing that has to happen is it has to pass through both houses of Congress by a majority vote. And then it goes to the President. Now, go ahead, Richard, let's do the next piece of it.
Okay. If he approve, he shall sign it.
Good. So he can approve it and sign it. That's one. Okay. Pat, what's the next thing you can do?
But if not, he shall return it with his objections to that house in which it shall have originated.
Good. If he approves it, he signs it. If he doesn't approve it, he has to send it back to the House where it came from, and he has to tell them why he's not going to sign it. Okay? Roy, what's the next thing?
Who shall enter the objections at large on their journal and proceed to reconsider it.
Good. So at this point, they receive it back, and they now are going to enter on their journal what the objections were at large, meaning in full detail, why he didn't want to sign it, and they're going to reconsider it.
Which makes it a public record.
Which makes it good, makes it a public record. I hadn't thought of that as being a good reason for that. That's good. All right, Rick, what's next?
If after such reconsideration 2/3 of that House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent together with the objections to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by 2/3 of that House, it shall become a law.
Good. So they get it back, they get the objections, they say, we like it anyway. 2/3 of them say, we want it. They pass it by 2/3, they send it over to the other House. The other House also says, we like it by 2/3 vote, and then it becomes a law, and they just bypass the president. That has happened from time to time. I don't know if anybody knows any particular examples of things.
It's called veto override.
Well, it's called a veto override, exactly right.
If something is added in the House or the Senate, doesn't it go back up to the President?
Right, because at this point, you're saying just, they shall reconsider the law that they had. And if they pass it by 2/3, it goes to the other one. It doesn't say they can change it. It says they reconsider it the way it is.
Okay.
If they look at it and they say, well, oh, we see what his objection is, and he's right. We really should change it, so they change this law. Now, it's basically, it's a new bill. It's an amended bill. It's different than it was before. And so now it's going to go over to the other house. They're going to consider it. They're going to, let us say, pass it. And then it'll go to the president, and he can either now sign it, or he can send it back with further objections. Okay? Bob, go ahead with the next one.
But in all such cases, the votes of both houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the persons voting for and against the bill shall be entered on the journal of each house respectively.
Good. So if you're going to override a veto, it has to be,
Roll call.
it has to be a roll call vote. You have to know what it was. You can't just all say, yeah, okay, we passed it. You know, you gotta have what it is. Okay. Okay, now comes the tricky part. We did the one side. If he said yes, he signs it. If he says no, and all of the what it has to go through in order to become a law then. And now we get to another tricky little piece of it. Yes, Jen, go ahead.
If any bill shall not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sunday is accepted, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be a law, in like manner as if he had signed it.
Good. So he can agree with it and sign it, it becomes a law. He can disagree with it, send it back with its objections, it goes through the whole override veto thing, or he can just ignore it. And if he just ignores it, it becomes a law, as though he had signed it. Got 10 days to consider the thing. Sunday's accepted.
Unless
Unless,
the Congress by their adjournment prevent its return, in which case it shall not be a law.
and that's what's called a pocket veto, because the president knows they're gonna adjourn for Christmas. He just got this thing on the 21st. And he says, I don't like this thing, and he just puts it in his pocket, and he lets them adjourn, and it's as though they had never passed it. It's as though it's just goodbye. Yes, all right, Sue.
Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and House of Representatives according to the rules and limitations prescribed in the case of a bill.
Good. So why do you think they wrote this?
So that they couldn't call it another name and run an in play around the president.
Good. Think that's... All right. That was what I was going to say also. All right.
And the question then arises, what is to prevent them from doing just what you were talking about?
I've heard the complaint that the problem with the Constitution is it's unenforceable, which is how they manage to do those things that they're talking about. And the answer to that always comes back to, we the people are the ones who wrote it. We the people are the ones who can enforce it. We the people are the only ones who can enforce it. We elect people to do certain things. If they don't do them, we the people have to step up and make sure that it gets done the way that we want it to be done. The next several parts cover Article 1, Section 8, the powers granted to Congress.